Welcome to my home office. In today's video, I want to talk to you about creating a productive and comfortable workspace. Many of us, myself included, are being forced to work from home, so the idea of spending 5 days a week in my home office, I realised I had to make some changes. So rather than just go ahead and do it, I thought I'd make a YouTube video about it. Plus, this video was kind of instigated when BenQ sent me a few products to review, and this fitted perfectly with me changing everything around, so perfect timing. But before we get stuck into the lights, I want to talk about my workstation in general. So you can see here, I think I made a bad decision buying a glass worktop, so if I could go back in time, I probably wouldn't do that, but it looks so shiny in IKEA, I had to buy it. So I've got a glass worktop. We'll come back to that. So let's talk about the general setup. You can see here I've got dual monitors. That is a brand new thing for me. Up until this point I just had one single monitor, but I'm doing more and more video calls, so what is great about multitasking, you can have your documents on one screen and then you can have your video conference call on the other. Tied in with the dual monitors, I've got a Canon digital SLR just out of frame over there. Because Canon have released that software, you can now use your proper camera as a webcam, so highly recommended. I've also got some speakers set up for video conferencing, and I've also got my Rode microphone, so that's the perfect conferencing setup. And you know, if you're feeling jazzy, you could chuck some lights in as well. People will not know what's hit them when you're on a video conference call and your background is genuinely blurred. If you're solely into photography, then a dual screen setup may not be necessary because photographs obviously are the format of one screen. Photoshop is not going to be any help if you would put it on a second screen. You might be better off spending your money on a 4K monitor. However, if you're into video editing, then you can see a dual screen is perfect because your timeline is spanning all the way across. Like, video editing is very panoramic. But make sure that you've got a graphics card that will support it because it is a bit more demanding on your computer. The second thing I've got in this office, which is a luxury item, is a second desk, but this one is a standing desk. If I'm sitting down for too long and I need to stretch my legs, I quite simply just pick up the keyboard and mouse, move it over to the standing desk, and I've got another monitor over there connected to the same computer. It's a luxury item, but if you're going to spend 5 days a week in your office, you might want to consider whether or not you need a standing desk, or if you've got enough money, ideally I would love one of the desks that mechanically go up and down, but that's the perfect scenario. I'm a firm believer of having everything set up as much as possible, so avoid putting things away in cupboards, drawers, or in boxes, or you have to plug things in. Have everything plugged in, ready to go. The path of least resistance. So take everything here. This is all plugged in. I don't have to go under my desk to plug in hard drives. I've got a memory card reader right here on my desk, even down to the fact that when I come into the office, I've got a remote for all of the lights in the room. Save yourself some time, get everything set up to be streamlined, and then you can get some work done. So we haven't talked about keyboards and mice yet. I am a big fan of Logitech products. So I've got a Bluetooth keyboard, which is the Logitech K750. Really fine profile. It's solar powered, so the lights in the room charge it, so you never have to put batteries in this. So that's a keyboard that I would recommend and I've used for years. Great product. Also, I've already mentioned the fact that I've got a glass worktop. This Logitech MX Master 2S works on a glass work surface. Does not complain about it at all. This mouse isn't cheap, but I would also recommend it. I hold this mouse more than I hold my children, so why wouldn't I get a nice mouse? And definitely don't buy a mouse which has got a cable on it. It's 2020, come on! So yeah, without a question, it's got to be wireless, Bluetooth mouse, rechargeable. You don't want to be using AA batteries and all of that nonsense. So not only does that work really well on glossy surfaces like this glass worktop, but I can just pick this up and move it over to my standing workstation and I just carry on, even though the dongle's in the computer under there. Do not skimp when it comes to buying a nice keyboard and a mouse, because that is a thing that you'll be using for hours and hours and hours. Let's talk about lighting, the whole reason why I was making this video in the first place. So before BenQ sent me anything, I had two lamps on my desk. The first one was here, where my iPad now sits, controlling the music, and there was the second lamp behind me, arching over the desk, therefore just evenly lighting my workstation from each side. Those lamps are gone now, and they've just been replaced by one ScreenBar on top of my monitor. Without this turning into too much of a science lesson, essentially what you're trying to do is balance out the brightness of your workstation and your monitor so that it doesn't strain your eyes too much. BenQ have sent me two products, the first of which is the ScreenBar that's on top of my monitor right now, and the second one is the ScreenBar Light for laptops. We'll talk about this one in a second. Let's talk about the ScreenBar, which is living on top of my screen. Inside the box you get the main LED tube, the screen attachment, which is also the counterweight, and also the USB cable which powers the device. The ScreenBar simply sits on top of your screen, it's not clamped, the counterweight just holds it in position nicely. The ScreenBar can be rotated within the fixing itself. You'll want to rotate it so that it's not shining in your eyes, but it's also not illuminating all the dust on your screen. On top of the device you'll see that there are multiple touch buttons. First you have the manual brightness button. Next along you've got a colour temperature button which has a range from 2700 Kelvin, which is a warm colour tone, all the way through to 6500 Kelvin, which is a cooler tone. The next button along, that's the automatic brightness button, which takes a reading of the brightness in the room and it gives you what it believes to be the correct amount of light for your workstation. And finally, you've got the power button. The ScreenBar comes in black, it's aluminium, it feels well crafted, and the design of it will suit most monitors. You can see here that the device has got an array of LEDs, different colours, and that's how it provides the various colour temperatures. This monitor is a 24-inch screen, so you can see here it fits nicely on a 24-inch monitor. If you were to go down to say 21-inch, it's probably going to be flush with the edges. Any smaller than that, and this ScreenBar will be overhanging the edges, but who buys a monitor smaller than that anyway? So essentially you just need to set it up once. I just come in the morning, switch it on, I just leave all the settings alone. Of course, if you have your screen set to night mode, then your monitor will warm up at night, and therefore you might want to change the ScreenBar to be a bit warmer to suit the screen. But it's not something I do, I just leave it alone. I've set it up once, on, off. Before Canon released the ability to use their cameras as a webcam, I was using a Logitech webcam, and that was sat on top of my computer monitor. Now initially I thought this was going to be a problem, but if you've got the right webcam that can simply sit on top of the ScreenBar. It's not ideal, but it still works. If you've got a different webcam that's not as flexible, then this may be a problem for you. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch off my studio light that I'm using for filming, and I'll switch off my other lights so that you can see what the actual light is doing itself. That's my filming light, and then the background lights are off. To give you an idea of the light that the ScreenBar is kicking off, if I switch that off, there you go. Now if I were to turn the rest of the lights on in my office, that's kind of backlighting my keyboard, so now this is still a very dark space. And then if you hit this, then you can see this is all balanced. Now you can see that that's not ruining the brightness of the screen at all. If you have a look at the screen, I'll turn this off, that it's not creating any glare on the screen. The second product that they've sent me is the ScreenBar Light, which is for laptops. Very much like its big brother, it's USB powered and it's got an array of LEDs which also gives the same colour temperature range, 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. Although it does so with less LEDs because it's a much smaller product. The ScreenBar Light has all of the same features as its big brother: manual brightness, colour temperature, auto dimming and power, and they've even created a desktop app for it. Now I use laptops all the time, but I primarily plug them into an external monitor just because I like a bigger display. But if I'm on a train or if I'm on a coffee shop, then yes, I will use my laptop screen if I have to. But I'm not convinced that this is the sort of product that you would travel with. It's not very compact, and it goes against the whole laptop dream of leaving all your accessories at home, just leaving the charger, leaving the mouse, leaving all your dongles, just taking a laptop. All of these accessories build up, and this isn't small. I think that this is a product meant to stay at home. But if it is meant to stay at home, then when I'm done with the day's work, I like to slam the lid of my laptop closed. It just signifies the end of the day. If you've got this clipped to your laptop, you're going to break your laptop if you close your lid. So this has to come on and off your laptop. Does anybody leave the lid of their laptop just open to gather dust overnight? So alongside this being clamped to your lid, and potentially if you forget it's there and you close the lid, it might cause some problems. This also has a bit of a webcam problem because this clamps directly in the center of your screen, which is exactly where all webcams are on laptops. So if you're doing any video conferencing on your laptop right now, this is going to get in the way of your webcam. And the idea of using an external webcam on your laptop is once again a bit counterintuitive. Too many accessories just plugging into a small computer. Now, considering that they're both £89, in my opinion, the ScreenBar that goes on your desktop monitor is better value for money. This is a really well-made product, but I don't think that they're the same price range. Maybe you're paying for the convenience that this is a travel item. Hopefully this mini tour of my office was helpful. Don't take this video as me saying, oh, look at all of the things that I've got. I'm genuinely sharing some of the ideas that I've put together to make my home office and workstation more efficient and a bit more comfortable. I'm always watching other YouTubers, and it's interesting just to see how other people set things up. For example, to do all of my top-down shots, I've screwed a tripod head to the ceiling of my office because the idea of setting up a rig every time I want to film something top-down was just, oh, I can't be bothered. So the solution to that, the path of least resistance, get a permanent solution, I can just fix my camera straight to the ceiling. It's literally 5 seconds, camera's fixed to the ceiling. So little ideas like that, I'm happy to share with you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you've got some recommendations to make my workstation even better. Thank you to BenQ for sending these products through to me. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description below. But I think the fact that it lives on my computer monitor is everything that you need to know. And speaking of computer monitors, BenQ, if you want to send me 2 matching ones, I'll be happy to review them for you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.